What's happening, folks? Welcome back to the channel. This is the starting 11 prediction for Sunday's League Cup quarter final away at Partick Thistle. By all accounts, in comparison to recent weeks, it seems like it's been a relatively quiet week in the Celtic world. We have been waiting all week, or certainly I have been waiting all week, on the financial results, which usually come out around this time of year. I was expecting it earlier in the week. I wanted to make a video around that, and we will do so whenever that is released. But late on Friday afternoon, I'm not sure we're going to get it now. I think this will be the latest it's been released since COVID, where I think it was delayed until October. You can only speculate as to why it's not came out around the usual days that it does. I'm sure there's a reason for that, and it definitely won't be the fact that the anger and frustration might be ramped up a notch again when people see the financial results from the past 12 months, given the fallout from the transfer window, and then what the club said in that statement about being close to the UEFA squad cost ruling and that financial fair play regulation. So we'll wait with bated breath on that one. Today the club did confirm that Barrowfield, the new Barrowfield facility, is fully up and running and open. That had went quiet for a long time there, but they've at last confirmed that it's fully functioning and open. That was one of those things where it's obviously a project they've spent some money on. We've talked a lot about having the cash reserves the club have got and not doing an awful lot with it. Barrowfield was the big project they'd been working on. We did go through a year period there where no one was really sure when it was going to be finished. Certainly the club hadn't made that clear, but it has now been unveiled. So that is something, I suppose. It wouldn't surprise you if they just slid the financial results out right off the back of that Barrowfield announcement, because we know the club like to try and do that. They'll slide bad news out with good news to try and dampen the noise that will surround it. But we'll wait and see what comes of that and those financial results whenever we do get them over the course of the next week or so. Maybe it'll be more than that, but we will wait and see. Now, in terms of this game on Sunday, Brendan Rodgers, I thought was, again, in the press conference, it wasn't anywhere near the fireworks of the week before, but he did say some interesting things. He made some interesting comments with regards to Balikwisha and to Netke. He said Balikwisha is not a right winger. That was on him playing him there. He wanted to see what he was like. He has played there here and there in his career, but he took responsibility for that, and I think we could see it didn't really work having Balikwisha on that right hand side last weekend. He did say though that bringing in Taneki and Balikwisha was probably because they thought Daizen was for the off at the end of the window, which I think is really interesting. And who knows what the future will hold for Balikwisha if he is predominantly playing from the left-hand side and Taneke is going to continue in the vein that he started his Celtic career in last week at Rugby Park. Then you might have to have a spell on the bench where he's going to have to prove his worth off the bench for a period of time. But it was interesting, I think, Brendan Rodgers' reaction to the question about could Daizen play from the right-hand side. Somebody asked him, we got Forrest and Yang there. He wasn't really committal in terms of any response to that question. I think the situation on the right-hand side is a symptom from the mismanagement of that transfer window, and that's one that we might see continue on. Now, this game on Sunday is a chance to get back to Hampden for us and reach the semi-final of the League Cup, where we haven't faced Partick Thistle since January 2020. We won 2-1 at Firhill thanks to goals from Lee Griffiths and Callum McGregor. If I remember rightly, I was at that game. I think Daniel Arzani took part in that game, which feels like an absolute lifetime ago. That is a throwback, but looking forward to it on Sunday. Having said that, a 3:30 kick-off on a Sunday afternoon, given the fact that we don't have a Europa League game this weekend. I know next week's game is on Wednesday night, but after the first match day in the Europa League, we will go back to Thursday fixtures, and then we'll have a whole host of league games on a Sunday afternoon. So we could do without the Sunday afternoons, but we don't really have much control over that, do we? Looking forward to the game. Brendan Rodgers, in recent times in these games, has made a whole host of changes. I think the first one this season against Falkirk, I thought he wouldn't go for so many changes, but he did. He made wholesale changes. I think it was 7 on the night. We won that game comfortably. So again, with Red Star Belgrade, on the horizon during the week. That'll be a difficult trip for the team. I think he will make some changes to the team that faced Kilmarnock last weekend. Let's turn our attention then to the starting 11 and what we think it might look like. I expect Viljami Senesalo to start in goals. I'm looking forward to seeing him. I think this season now, I know that back at the start of the last campaign, he didn't play in these type of fixtures, these early League Cup rounds. I know this is at the quarter-final stage now, but we've only had one round prior to this. He didn't play in these types of games, and then when Schmeichel was out injured, he impressed. I think at this stage in his Celtic career, in his second season, having done so well when he's come in, these are the games that we should see Sinisalo play, and I hope we do see him start the game on Sunday. Right back, Ralston still out, Johnston still out, Colby Donovan to keep his place. Like we said in the full-time reaction last week outside Rugby Park, I thought he played well, all things considered. Difficult game on the surface, again thrown in for his first start. A big day for him, and he played a pivotal role in the build up to that penalty where he done well to get by his man and showed some composure to pick out a cutback for James Forrest. So all credit to him, and I'm looking forward to seeing more of him tomorrow. Now, centre halves, I've gone for Carter Vickers and Scales. It wouldn't surprise me to see some changes in that area of the pitch. Brendan Rodgers was asked about Simpson Pusey today. Not really clear where he stands. He said he's going to be here for 12 months, and the aim was to get him up to speed and let him settle in and adapt to life away from Man City, where he's been so used to coming through the youth academy there. But we haven't seen any of him yet. Whether we'll see any changes at centre half, I'm not sure. I've just gone Carter Vickers and Scales. I think Sirachi might play as well at left back. We're not sure with Kieran. I think he did well when he came on Tierney last weekend. He gave us some energy, some intensity. He pressed the game really well. He won it back quite high up the pitch a couple of times. But again, I just think with European game during the week, and then Hibs to come at home in the league next Saturday, I think Sirachi might get the nod for this one. In midfield, I'm going McGregor, McCowan and Engels. Roll the dice for who you think will start in midfield. It wouldn't surprise me to see McGregor come out. I think it would be healthy for Callum McGregor to come out and for Brendan Rodgers to try and find a combination in there that can navigate a game like this without Callum McGregor having to play. I think McCowan has been decent when he's came on and when he's played so far this season. I think Engels has found himself on the periphery, which there's always a lot of talk about given the transfer fee that's always going to follow him of £11 million. So I think, again, Sunday, a good opportunity for him to start the game and try and prove to the manager that he should be playing more than he has done so far this season. I think Nygren, after what I thought was a promising start in pre-season, a couple of the early games, he's now followed that with a couple of questionable performances, and I think the jury's maybe out on him. I just think he's not playing at enough speed in midfield. He made a few really strange decisions in the game at Kilmarnock last weekend, so I think he's got a bit to go to prove to us that he is the man to keep that jersey in midfield. And like I say, League Cup tie, I expect Brendan Rodgers to make changes. I think McCowan and Engels might be the ones that get the nod. I wouldn't mind seeing Paulo Bernardo, because again, he's one who's barely kicked a ball so far this season, and he'll probably feel hard done to given the level of performance the team have put in at times and the way the midfield has flowed at times as well. So it wouldn't surprise me to see Bernardo come in, but I think it could be any one of those three: McCowan, Engels, Bernardo. I think they all probably deserve minutes, and I think the likes of Hatate and Nygren, possibly McGregor as well, could sit this one out, certainly from the start at least. Front three, I'm going Forrest on the right hand side, Tuneki on the left, and Daizen through the middle. I'm really not sure about that one. I think Daizen, great goal last week, a great ball in from Sirachi, a lovely header into the far corner. It's really good for his confidence for him to get on the score sheet. I think it's been a wee while since he'd scored a goal. There's obviously been clear, it's not even speculation, it's talk about his future, because Brendan Rodgers has told us he was on the brink of an exit towards the end of the summer transfer window, and that he's wanted to move on for a new challenge since February or March. So I think it's good for him to get in the score sheet. hopefully that'll do his confidence the world of good, and he can move on and just get his head down, and hopefully put in a good level of performance between now and January at least, where again he might be headed for the exit. But I think Iheanacho could well get a start. I think again it's maybe just a wee bit early for him, but I accept that it is the profile of fixture that suits him to come in and get a start and maybe get 60-65 minutes under his belt. I would expect maybe Daizen to start through the middle in Belgrade. We'll wait and see what happens there, but I think it was brilliant for Iheanacho to get on the score sheet. He wasn't involved too much from open play in the minutes that he had at Rugby Park, but to show the bottle and the courage to step up and take the penalty and put it away with aplomb to win us the game, I think is a great start to his Celtic career. I think it will give him some energy, it will give him confidence, and we know that's what goal scorers need. On the left hand side, as I say, I've gone with Taneke, who was very, very impressive last weekend. Now I know it's early days, he's only had one appearance in a Celtic jersey, but we've watched a lot of games this season where the wide players have really failed to be direct. They've failed to take the responsibility to drive at their fullback, make things happen, be decisive. And I think he was all those things last weekend. I want to see more of him. Again, there's options there to play on the left-hand side. Brendan Rodgers may well change it up, but I think one game a week, he's only made one appearance. I think, again, another 60-65 minutes for him on Sunday would do him the world of good. And then again, if he can keep that form up, you'd expect him to take part in Belgrade as well. But that's the 11 I think Brendan Rodgers could go with on these League Cup ties. It is very, very difficult to predict the team. You can let me know who you think he'll pick from the start on Sunday in the comments below. Please don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you after the game on Sunday. Thank you.